I want to tell you a story about this guy. His name is Dmitry Belyaev. He was a Russian geneticist in the 1950s. Now, Dmitry set out to replicate the process of domestication in real time. Using wild foxes, he selectively bred the tamest individuals, and in just 20 generations of selective breeding, Belyaev produced foxes with dog-like traits. These foxes were eager to interact with humans, they wagged their tails, licked experimenters, and they whined for attention. Even more fascinating was what happened inside those foxes' brains, and we're going to reveal it all here today and what it means for your dog. Today on Pet Spotlight, we're exploring the science between two key chemicals that shaped dogs into the lovable companions that we know and adore today. First up, serotonin. Have you ever wondered what makes our dogs so friendly and sociable and eager to bond with us? Serotonin plays a huge role. But what exactly is serotonin? And how does it work its magic in dogs? In simple terms, serotonin is one of a group of chemical messengers in the brain called neurotransmitters. It helps nerve cells communicate by carrying signals between them. Serotonin has a bunch of important jobs in the body and brain. It helps regulate sleep, appetite, digestion, pain perception, and of course, mood. Low serotonin levels are actually linked to depression in humans. You may have heard of SSRIs, or serotonin-specific reuptake inhibitors. This is a class of medications that help increase serotonin in the brain, and they're very commonly used to treat depression because serotonin is so important in mood. Now back to dogs, here's an amazing fact. Research shows that serotonin also controls some key behaviors in canines. One study from Spain found that serotonin levels were about 40% higher in friendly, non-aggressive dogs compared to aggressive dogs. This suggests that serotonin helps increase the chill factor for dogs. Another study looked at serotonin in shelter dogs who interacted with humans. The dogs that were more sociable with people, you guessed it, they ended up being the ones with higher serotonin levels. So serotonin clearly plays a role in promoting sociability and friendliness between dogs and humans. Of course, serotonin doesn't work completely by itself. For one, it partners with another feel-good chemical called oxytocin, which we also know as the love hormone. Oxytocin also boosts sociability and helps dogs form strong attachments and loyalty to their human packs. Together, serotonin and oxytocin make a powerful team to help make dogs' brains perfect for their role as companions. Now, you might think serotonin just makes dogs affectionate, but actually this clever chemical has a lot of jobs. For example, one study found that obese dogs had lower serotonin levels than lean, fit dogs. So there's hints here that serotonin might impact appetite and weight control. The diverse effects of serotonin in doggy physiology are clearly still unfolding, from digestion to blood flow, but science is working on sniffing out all its secrets. While serotonin promotes those warm, fuzzy feelings, our second chemical is a key hormone that has the opposite effect on dog behavior and temperament: cortisol. Cortisol is your classic fight or flight stress chemical. Coming up next, we're going to explore how cortisol shaped the dog-human relationship in surprising ways over centuries of evolution. First, thanks for joining us on Pet Spotlight today, and thanks for liking this video and finding the subscribe button to help us spread the word. Now, cortisol is your classic fight or flight chemical. It's a hormone that's released when the body senses a threat or stress as part of the sympathetic nervous system. I'm sure you felt your heart race and your palms sweat when you're nervous or scared. That's cortisol at work. Now, cortisol has a bunch of important jobs as well. It helps control blood sugar levels and metabolism, but it's mostly known as the big stress hormone. Now, when dogs are faced with something that worries them, their cortisol levels spike. One study exposed dogs to scary things like loud noises or physical restraint. These stressful stimuli increased the cortisol found in the dog's saliva. More cortisol matched up with behaviors like cowering, shaking, or hiding. So if serotonin promotes sociability, guess what cortisol does? Research on shelter dogs shows that high cortisol makes it harder for pups to bond with potential adopters. One study actually measured cortisol levels, and then people tried interacting with the dogs. The dogs with the lowest cortisol were most sociable and playful, but the high cortisol dogs were standoffish and avoided people. Too much cortisol blocked the shelter pups from opening up. Now, you won't be surprised to learn that this stress chemical is also linked to aggression in dogs. Studies have consistently shown that dominant or aggressive canines have higher cortisol levels. These tendencies certainly make sense evolutionarily, like dogs who needed cortisol for the fight instinct when they were facing threats in the wild. But too much cortisol resulted in dogs being less suitable as happy family companions. And this is where humans stepped in through domestication to help shape dog behavior over generations. So back to Dmitry Belyev's foxes. Here's a quick pop quiz. Based on what you know now, which animals do you think likely had higher serotonin levels and which probably had more cortisol? You probably guessed it, their blood chemistry showed huge drops in cortisol and their brains had more serotonin over generations of breeding for tameness. It's a perfect model of what likely happened 15,000 years ago, starting with wild wolves. Humans likely favored and cared for the ones with less cortisol and more serotonin because they had more desirable behaviors. Over time, this changed the genetic tendency of dogs towards the chemical balances that made them better partners. This story of two chemicals is just scratching the surface of the amazing canine mind. Let us know in the comments what other questions you have about the psychology and evolution of our dogs. We're just getting started bringing you these tales here on Pet Spotlight. Until next time.